All right, we call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock on the dot. Roll call, Bruce Hegwer here.
Lily Perez.
John Rump here.
Angela Godinez.
Okay. We can have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Lily Perez motions.
Lily moves. Anybody second out there?
John.
John seconds. Discussion? Any changes, modifications?
Nothing from me.
And all in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Approval of the minutes for October 14th. Can I have a motion, please?
All motion. John Rump.
John moves. Lily second.
Lily Perez.
Hey, any discussion, any changes? I didn't see anything. Okay, hearing none. And, all in favor of approving the minutes from October 14th meeting, say aye.
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 Okay. Motion carries. Public comments. Do we have anybody online? Mr. Tully?
We only have our 2 board members online and no one else.
Okay, great. Okay, finance update. Rebecca.
Okay, good evening. We do not have any budget adjustment requests tonight, so we'll go straight to the accounts payable vouchers.
I have a motion to approve the accounts payable payment vouchers.
Lily Perez motions.
Lily moves.
Second.
Angela seconds. Okay, discussion?
I
Any
do.
questions? Any questions on the vouchers?
So we were talking a little bit.
What? I'm in the Zooms.
I did mistake the lunch plates as something for staff to use. And that's why we had it again. So, but found out that that's what we are serving students lunch at. So that's where that is. And are we posting that to?
The student nutrition.
Yeah.
So
I don't feel like I'm as good on the strings.
yeah,
The plates for lunch, okay. See that?
I asked Rebecca how many plates do we
Well, we buy them in bulk when we can get them because it's hard. A lot of these places don't carry that kind of stuff. But we've got these little trays that are just perfect. We found a place that, because I was running to Sam's Club about every 3 weeks last year, and it was bad, but we found a place that delivers, and so we just fill up our fire riser room with them, and then when we get low, we buy some more.
Any other questions about the vouchers? Okay, all in favor of approving the vouchers as presented, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. John? He must have stepped out for a moment. Okay, motion carries. Financial statement reports.
so here we can have our statement of revenues and expenditures by fund. So just revenue coming in for the year versus expenditures that have gone out. And so this is as of 10/31. And we don't have that many funds this year. We are still waiting on our Carl Perkins and our next gen funding to come in. But APS was put on a corrective action plan for those funds, and so the state hasn't allowed them to release funding yet. They haven't released to the charters yet.
They just contacted me from the charter school office last week to give them numbers, and I had to explain to them. And I got this completely done with the CTE office over at APS in the spring. Had to explain it to them again in the summer and let the state know what we're doing. But I had to give them course numbers again and tell them who was taking those classes this last week. So hopefully they'll get it together. But I mean, and for us, what was it last year? 8,000. We used to get about 30 when Cheryl Williams Stapleton was in that office stealing money. But we
And
were,
it was even less last year. It seems like 4,000 between the two.
yeah, it was something ridiculous.
So,
But anyway,
so pretty much like the only federal money we're at this point is some money from like student nutrition, and then the Idea B money, which is used for our special ed teacher, one of our special ed teachers. And then if we do get in the Carl's Perkin grant, which is basically used for the science classroom, and same with the next gen CT.
it's this class, the PLTW biomedical classes.
So all the supplies that we just bought will be.
Yeah, so once it gets funded, we will reclass.
Okay.
Science
What we
supplies.
can with the money we get.
Can I have a motion to approve? Oh, I'm sorry, Rebecca.
No, I mean, I think we're pretty much staying the same. We have dipped like down a little bit between in September and October from where we were in August. But we are still up as of the end of last year, as of June. And not really any changes here. No, we'll just go over the building. So we are at 3.6 million now in money available for like the building purchase. And then just the bank statement paid out. Yeah, I don't have anything else. This is
I don't think we're both on this.
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
I don't think it's a requirement.
I don't think it was either. Anyway. Okay. You guys have any questions on the financial report? Comments?
None from me.
Okay, thanks. Okay. And let's go into GC business.
John sent me the name of somebody that I hadn't actually thought about, but for an additional governance council member. He had mentioned Bonnie Dodge before that I knew way back, and she was not interested. She's retired, but her son is an educator and might be interested. So I reached out to him, and I'm going to talk with him. And as always, if you know of anybody that might be interested out there in the world, let me know. And now the fun stuff.
All right. Thanks. Okay, executive session, personnel and capital matters. Someone read the statement, go into executive session.
It's everybody else's one.
Well-
I'll read it.
Well, I can read the first part. How about
Okay.
that? Okay, can we go into executive session?
I'm so
Consideration.
sorry.
I'm sorry?
Can anyone let me in? I'm so sorry.
Are
Is
you
anyone
talking?
available?
Downstairs.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
yes.
downstairs.
You're
Sorry,
in.
guys. I made it.
Can we take a vote on that?
Hey, I'm watching you guys.
Bruce is coming.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, thank you guys. I apologize.
No problem. Now she has to read
Have sheets or stuff up here for the jackets.
outside. I can't sit in chairs. See what I did in my office? I've raised up the standing desk and I've got that little stool there so I can kind of lean back on it.
You get a medicine ball.
I've done a couple of them.
That works. For a while.
Yeah, but I just sit up and
Yeah. All right, like consideration for the approval to adjourn to executive session pursuant to section 10-15-1H8 for the purpose of the discussion of limited personnel matters, for the purpose of the discussion, the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body. Can I have a motion, please?
Willie Perez motions to move that the Governance Council of Dallas International School convene in closed session to discuss limited personal matters related to staffing and discussion of the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property as authorized by section 10-1 of the New Mexico Open Meeting Act.
Okay, so we have a motion. Have a roll call
John
vote.
John Rumpel, second.
John second. Thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Bruce Hagler, yes.
Willie Perez, yes.
John Rumpel,
John?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're in closed session.
Okay.
Pause the-
Okay, might just need to read the chair.
Did you? there you go.
Yeah. You know all this pretty much.
Okay, have a motion to come out of closed session.
Yeah, but we'll wait a second for Kim, but I'm also recording it, so. So Kim, there has been a motion by Bruce to come out of, or he's asked for a motion to come out of closed session.
Motion to move that the governance council convenes an open session and that all matters discussed in the closed session were limited to only those specified in the.
Okay, have a motion. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Bruce, yes.
Yes.
All right, we are in open session. Head of school school update.
Well, one thing I just want to bring to your attention, and then we can talk about this other matter, is that we have, we're doing our international, it's not really an international day or international fair this year. It's more of an international exhibition. We're doing that on December 4th, and we'll get all the appropriate notifications out to parents and community and stuff. And we're doing a little different than last year. Last year we had a big production and a big tent and dances and everything. And this year we're going to show off projects. We're still going to do a little dancing, a little music. Our Disney Academy will have food out in the MPR, and we're going to run it from 4 to 6 about dinner time and let people come in and see what their kids are doing. One, we're moving it a little bit to see if we can focus more on testing at the end of the year and it not be all International Day, and also because with any luck we might be involved in some other events that we have to do. So I got a call yesterday from Joseph Escobedo, who's head of the charter school office. He took over for me when I left. Bruce, did I hand you one of these? Okay.
I've got, thank you.
And he said, hey, I'm going to send you a letter from the charter school office. And basically it is just a performance letter, and it's about enrollment. So I said, okay. He said, with the contract and everything, we have to send these out, and um, they understand. I mean, we're always one of their best schools. I don't think we've ever had any bad marks against us. And he goes, I have to do this with everybody, so I have to do you too. And he was kind of apologetic. I said, Joe, you got to do what you got to do. I said, I know enrollment's a little bit down. And so Bruce called me. I'll tell you more about my son's tire, but Bruce called me, and I called him back, and he said, hey, I got this letter, and it says you're like $600,000 down. And I said, what? And I said, look, I'll look at the letter, and that doesn't make any sense or whatever. So I also called Rebecca, and we talked. And so we got this letter. First of all, we got it and had the wrong school's name on it, and then they corrected it. And as you can see, they've got a little chart in the middle there as a projected enrollment of 255,000. So, 255 students. Yeah. So in the 40th day, which comes the 40th day of school, it's the first reporting period, they asked to commit to us to make a projection for the next year. Last year at that time, we had about 232. We ended up having about 234 for the school year, averaging the 80-day and 120th day. So I talked to Rebecca. I said, things are going good. I know that we've kind of turned a corner from COVID. Let's go ahead and just budget. We'll budget 10 more. I don't ever like to budget growth, but I think it was warranted because, we're doing some advertising. We're going to do this. It'll be good. And that's before the crap hit. But we only did our growth to 244, not 255. So that number's incorrect. The second part of this is the enrollment, which is correct right now. It's 211. We have lost about 20 some kids, 21, 22 kids from last year's enrollment. And of course, you guys know why, because we've talked about it repeatedly about the meetings and our Spanish families leaving, and Miss Escobedo, the kindergarten teacher, calling everybody she knew, tell them not to come here because I'm a racist and a bad person and all that. So we lost families. Now, you have to understand that at the end of the year and into summer, we had about 250 enrolled, and we continue to get enrollment. So we expected about that many to come through the door. Well, there was 5, 6 families with 2 or 3 kids each that just never showed. And that hit enrollment. And then it's a struggle to get more enrollment when people are already taking their kids to school. We did pick up a few, but then we lost a few more. And so that number's correct. But the problem here is and I think you can turn to the next page, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It cut off the. So anyway, it cut off the first number, which should have that under that enrollment growth we had 244. So our total FTE for last year was 232, at least it was at the 40th day. And I'm sorry, we projected 245. It's right there. Rebecca, I should have printed this the other way because it cut off the numbers. Yeah, would you? So we can see what the heck I'm talking about. At least maybe I've got the numbers on the third sheet. Yeah, I do those. Do you have this one? They can see this one. If you go to the third page, that box, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So basically when they figured this, you see the amounts that 3,616,839 is the state equalization guarantee money, which is what we get from students. What they did was they took what they thought was the projected growth, 255. They took the total number of all monies, which was 5,201,000. They divided that by the 255. They came out with about 14,000 a student SEG, which is about 10,000 more than it is, or so. No, it's less than that. It's about 8,000 more. What are we at, about 65 now? I think.
Yeah, so I think what they did is they, I think it was this number, maybe they took it.
I did the math, so it was that number, the 500. And so they multiplied it by the thing and they got 14,000. Then they took what they thought was us losing 44 kids and multiplied that by the 14,000 and came out with their $650,000 thing. Well, that's not how this money's figured. So Rebecca, with her 910B5, which is what we get from the state, we figured out from the students we lost that we would be short about $150,000 from our budget, not short on money, but just short what we budgeted. Well, when Dr. Perea decided to leave the school, which was a good thing, she was making close to 100,000 plus her benefits. So basically not hiring somebody in that role already covered it. Not to mention, we have another 1.6 or so million we're just carrying over. So we've got 10 times that amount just for in case. So if they wanted to talk enrollment, is the enrollment drop concerning? Yes, to us, to me especially. It's something we have to address and make better. But it's not anything that should concern them at all because it doesn't affect our finances. It doesn't. And so this is still embargoed. We'll be able to tell the public later, but we had our audit exit. We had zero findings again. We had our APS site visit last year and everything. Once again, finance, no problems at all. So I also went back to our contract. It says that they can send letters like this for, once again, what's it called? I'm sorry, I'm just notice of unsatisfactory performance. They, in our contract says they can send those, but they have no criteria for that. So there's no criteria that says, well, if you're down students, we get to send this. Or Joseph, when they talk to me, goes, well, when you get down 10 or 15% of your, well, we're not. I mean, we might be close to 10, but once again, there's no financial problems. We're not in any danger. Do we need to raise enrollment? Absolutely. So basically, they've called Bruce and myself and Rebecca to a meeting next Thursday to sit down and give them our plan. Well, our plan to address any finance has already been done. Our plan to address enrollment is basically very simple. We're working on getting in a new building. We will have a lot of advertising. We will have apartments that are opening there, a lot of new apartment buildings. And also we're going to reach out to the students that are in that school right now that may not want to move to another building and stay there. So picking up a positive number of students. And also we have something to sell when parents come in here, into our school. Look at our playground. Look at this nice building with all, and we have a chance for growth. Everything we do is, I think, a risk. Starting a charter school, working at one might have been a risk at some point. But I think if this school is going to exist beyond me, beyond us, which is the goal, we have to take some risk. And so I can't speak to the motivation. There were years I probably could have said, hey, they're trying to do this, but I don't know whether they said, hey, everybody's down. Let's find out where kids are going and who's short and all that. I don't know. I told Joseph I was not happy because if you look at the letter and who was included in this letter, it was also to the superintendent and to the board and to the head of board services. He said, no, it's just us. It's just my office having a little meeting. I'm not worried about the union controlled board necessarily because they won't be voted into office yet to really respond to this. But And I don't think anybody, well, I just don't want to be messed with. Technically, they have no standing to tell us anything about this because it's not in the contract and we aren't violating anything. Our numbers are down a little bit, which they could say it's an area of concern for us, which is fine. It's our concern too, but for a group that doesn't like charter schools, I think they'd be thrilled that we were down. So anyway, I've talked to Rebecca.
Is this a public record?
I'm sure somebody requested it be public record. But when we explain this to them about how you can't figure it this way and where we are, and the only thing that worries me about this is APS's renowned arrogance about things. We're really going to have to explain how this works. The charter school office is not a bad group of people, but they're not educators. Joseph's never worked in a school. Neither has Rebecca, their finance person. They've all been central office or policy people. So I don't think they understand. I think Rebecca is our strongest weapon because Rebecca works with the schools and understands this inside and out. And then maybe me because I've got 30 some years experience and Bruce has been doing this forever. So we all understand it better than they do. But the arrogance part bothers me, but I am going to ask them once they understand for a letter saying that we are not this, once again, the wording, we are not unsatisfactory performance. They want to say we're concerned about your enrollment, that's fine, but it's not unsatisfactory performance. So, and it's just one more thing I have to deal with when I have other things to do, which probably makes me the maddest. So that's what this is about. I know you guys should see it, and but understand what's reflected here is not anything based in reality.
Part of the letter that was cut off, asking for Lily to be part of the meeting on November 20th.
Oh, as a representative from the audit,
The finance.
the
committee.
finance committee, that's what it is. So I don't know whether you can make it or not. If you can't, I mean, if you can, great, but you know, they're not going to slap us down if everybody can't make it. Or we could reschedule it. That's another thing that kind of bugs me too about you have 20 days to respond to this in writing and all that. Well, I'm not going to write up anything till we talk to them because
I was going to ask her, again, put together a presentation or
yeah, I already made a bunch of notes and I'm going to get with Rebecca, but
you guys want to meet ahead of time on
okay.
most
Should
of
we
the
all be there?
I'm retired.
Congratulations.
I'm the first John. I figure out what to do when I grow up.
Let me know. Maybe it'll give me some ideas. So
Do you want me to?
they've requested we have a head of our finance committee. Like I said, I don't think anybody's going to say we're not going to have a meeting because you're not there. The tone of the letter and the tone of what Joseph told me, and then the horrible mistakes. I have to wonder about this whole thing because the tone of the letter is like, but it's doesn't have any correct information. So
it's on my calendar to be there.
and we'll meet at APS, and then I'm sure it's up. I didn't see what Joseph put, but I'm sure it's up on the 6th floor east.
Just a check-in at the front.
Yeah.
Wonder how many of these they sent out.
That's a good question because there's only a few schools and a few of those were state that have actually had growth. There's a lot of people losing. And of course, then you ask after that logically leads you to the next question is, how many did the district lose?
Yeah.
Because you know, they've lost a phenomenal amount of kids in the last 5, 6 years. And actually even more when you consider that, I mean, probably less, but they were lying about their enrollment for so long and giving false numbers that it looks maybe worse than it was for them. But
I wonder where they got the 255, the projected enrollment.
When people leave, can we, or do we perform like an exit interview? Is that weird?
no, we have a form that asks, and then of course, when they go to a different school, they have to request records. It's the ones that just register and sign up and then never show. That's difficult. And we've called a few before, and it's like, oh, yeah, we decided on another school. But they don't tell us. I was telling Lily before we started the meeting that charter school parents are different because they've already left a school, basically. Even if they never took their kids to public, that was their designated school. And they decided not to go there. So the second time or the third time just becomes easier. And a lot of these families, I think, that got angry and were angry at me or whatever with the school, they decided just to not show up and not tell us. Yeah, I believe it was. And I believe they got advice on how to do that. I can't prove that, but it was, well, it's kind of like having two teachers show up and then quit 2, 3 weeks in. I think that was very intentional. But, you know, um, it is what it is, and we're better off. Feels better around here.
Did we have a waiting list? Do we have a waiting list?
We always have waiting lists at most of the lower grades, and we use those all the way through the first semester. As soon as we lose one, we start calling and try to replace it. Once we post the new application on our website, which will be in December, we just clear that out. Because of the lottery, you have to make new lists to be, randomly shuffled and chosen. But in the last few years, I'll tell you after we turn the camera.
Do what? Was that?
I'll tell you after we turn the camera on. No, I mean, you have to. I have advised people about not attending the school when, with our program in advanced, when they come in and I say, why did you choose our school? Well, you're smaller. Well, your child has failed everything in in 6th and 7th grade and haven't gotten anything, and you think that's going to make a difference. You're putting them into an advanced program. So are you setting them up to fail? And I want them to understand, because a lot of times they say, well, you're smaller, we're going to keep them here. And they struggle, and some we've helped and they've overcome, and some haven't. And then some you work with to try to have a space, because we do give preferential treatment to siblings. So we always look at when a kid comes in, do you have a sister or brother? Or are you trying to get them in? Can we get a family in third and also have a spot for their first grader? And so, we try to help as much as we can.
Was there anybody that we turned away at the beginning of the year that we could reach out to now and say, hey, it's semester time's coming up. We've got some room. Would you be interested in making a change in semester?
Most of those people we have reached out to, and we may hear from some, and we do have people that reach out to us at semester.
Okay.
I know we picked up 5 or 6 last year at semester, but most people, once they get in school and settle, they won't change.
Okay.
And sometimes we'll have 10, 15, 20 on a waiting list, and we'll have a spot. We'll call our way down through 5 of them. They either won't respond or tell us no, and then we'll get one. So, but that's the one thing we really need to do, is increase applications and increase that waiting list. And we'll be doing the charter school fair, and I'm working with, Rebecca gave me a contact that will come in and kind of evaluate for free how we market and how we do our outreach, and give us some suggestions. And yeah, And then we're going to do more in-person meetings this year. And if we can get to the middle of January and actually have something to sell to people in a building, will help too.
Yeah. I think so.
So our plan is the charter school fair, banking on a new building, advertising.
And then not filling the position, Dr. Pereira's position.
So I know we did advertising on KR2, right? Did we see a whole lot from that or?
I don't feel like we did now.
If they would advertise in front of Hope, there's a big exodus going on there.
They don't really like that, but it's like those apartments down there. I'll have to get kids to sneak in early in the morning and put flyers on cars. And then I'll do it the right way and approach their office and say, hey, could you post some of these? But you know, the best thing ever that worked for us was the big charter school fair we used to have. And that was the one that I started at APS. And I would talk to tons of people and give them information and talk to them. And we get a lot of people from that and a lot of word of mouth, you know. But, you know, this last year, the word of mouth has been bad. And so we've had a few of those people return. We've had, but, you know, even one of my favorite parents that just blasted me and blasted me. She brought her kids back, but she still feels that it was her duty because there were some things wrong at this school and that I'm not perfect. I still have some work to do too.
So there's some things wrong with the school. But brought the kids down. Even though those issues are still here.
Yeah, and none of the things that she never shared with me what she thought was wrong with the school, and that was never brought up at the governance council meetings. It was always about me. So, you know, I mean, people have revisionist history because I'm still here.
I think I read somewhere that either ACES or the coalition is going to have it
January,
in January.
we'll be
School
there.
fair.
We've already
School fair.
reserved a table and stuff. So they just don't quite get the draw we used to get. But still, there'll be people out there and we'll talk to them. So
Speaking about the APS board, what do you think that's going to change our environment much?
there's two things I'll say about that. One is that you listen to these people talk about their stance on all these issues. And when I see these board members come in and after a few months there, they realize what they can really do and what they can't. I don't like using the term drink the Kool-Aid, but they kind of become part of the system and they realize a little bit more. This last board was very unpredictable though. We'll choose a tough board that's predictable over a board that's unpredictable. But once again, even the ranting and raving about getting rid of charter schools and having them go to the state, get rid of them through attrition, that kind of died when the policy people told them, you don't have the authority to do that. That's one thing. And the other thing is the law. You can rant and rave about, you know, they kept talking about, we need a policy. And, you know, Joseph said, we already have a policy. And I know because I wrote most of it. And it hasn't become obsolete. It still follows the law and everything. So there's a lot of gesturing, but if they were to say, hey, we're going to close you down tomorrow because we don't like you, you know, okay, well, I'll just make an appeal with the state office and you'll have to prove that we violated one of these three things. And if they can't, then, you know, I've seen the state do that a couple times because they changed their there was a lady that ran that office that came in and changed the application process, and then she was rating all the schools on that new application, but they were under a contract based on the old application. So she was trying to get rid of schools that way, but then they came in and said, no, we're under this one. And so, you know, none of it mattered. They stayed. And she left. So it all goes back to statute. And that really hasn't changed much in the last. So that's where we are.
Very good. Okay, other business. GC member comments, anybody have any? For me, motion to adjourn.
A motion.
John moves. Angela seconds. Discussion on adjourning. Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
I won by